Another week here of fishing. We actually saw what I would consider summer. It was nice. We lived in our sun shirts. Did we get some rain? I think we all know the answer to that is yes. In fact, last night we had a doozy come through. Did it impact the bite this morning? Don't feel like it did. We didn't catch any big fish today, so maybe it did. No big bites, but plenty of fish today still in the same pattern. We caught them yesterday and Friday and the entire week. So the consistency was the same. Strong storm came through last night, wicked storm last night, at least here in the North Metro, and it didn't seem to make a huge impact on the fish behavior and fish activity. But this whole week we saw warm temperatures. We saw, I don't know for sure, don't quote me if it actually did hit 90 one of these last few days. I feel like it did. I think my truck read 91, but that can be deceiving. It could be 88. Regardless, it hit about 90 degrees. It kind of felt good for a change. I saw all my ice fishing buddies. I have a lot of those, obviously, posting comments and making memes about it'd be kind of nice to be ice fishing right now with this heat. So the heat was noticeable for everyone. I personally thought it felt good. It was nice to be out there in shorts and a t-shirt or shorts and a sun shirt to actually start the day at sunrise even some of these days. So that was nice. What it did is it progressed and kept the water temperatures once again stable. We talked about this a couple weeks back. We had that first day a couple weeks back where the water temps overnight actually did not drop. And we're seeing some of that again now where things are just becoming more consistent. You're not seeing this rapid swing in surface temp where the water drops 6-7 degrees overnight and then takes until the afternoon to heat up. We're oftentimes starting in the morning where we left off yesterday afternoon, evening. So that does play a role. We don't often think about that. That does help things stay consistent. We don't see the rapid movements in fish location, especially to feed on and off structure. The walleyes might do a little bit of that, and that's just driven by timing, light conditions. But often talking about bass and panfish and other game fish, they're just kind of housing themselves. They're kind of taking up residency on some of these pieces of structure. And away we go. We're going to really hit on weed lines in this video because I feel like that has been 100% the location. A vast majority of our fish are coming now. Whether you're bass fishing, walleye fishing, whatever, a lot of these fish will utilize shallower hard bottom spots, gravel spots, rock spots, inside turns, definitely to feed. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're going out fishing right now, let's say throughout much of the day, which is when a lot of us get to go out fishing, maybe you don't have the opportunity to do the sunrise or sundown bite, you have family obligations or work or whatever. So the daytime bite on the weed line is pretty darn good right now for a variety of species. We're going to throw a curveball at the presentations in this video because I think you all know I could talk to you about a Ned rig, continue to catch a pile of fish this week on a Ned rig, that kind of stuff, targeting fish on jig and minnow, forward facing sonar, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we could talk about that until we're blue in the face, but I started to allude to a presentation last week, and it's a longer jig worm. And I've been criticized a little bit on social media, posting pictures of these massively long 8-inch and 10-inch jig worms on jig heads. You can certainly fish them on a Texas rig, don't get me wrong, but I do just fine catching them on a jig head. In fact, our biggest bites this last week came on a long worm on an all-terrain mighty head. Jack, my son, a lot of you know Jack, his 6.82 largemouth, his PB of all time, came on a 10-inch worm on a jig head. So funny looking or not, it works, it catches fish. This is just a presentation that we have done well with, especially lately. And we talked about how these fish, whether it's bass or walleye, we're probably going to lean more towards the bass side of things right now with this presentation. They're feeding up or they're feeding down, and feeding down is your Ned rig application. Yeah, they'll eat a Ned rig on the fall, don't get me wrong, but that's generally speaking bottom contact, shaking it. That's going to hop like this, right? Where you're going to fish a jig, a traditional jig. That's going to be, there's one right here, football head with a pocket craw. There's one right here, Grassmaster. This is your traditional jig. You're going to fish this on the bottom. Now, the big jig worm I just showed you, This falls a lot slower. If you watch it on forward facing sonar, it falls a lot slower down that water column, especially the edge of those weeds where those bass will come up, ambush it. So they're feeding up on this presentation. So when these fish move into the deeper water, let's say the coon tail like they are right now in 20, 25 feet of water, I really like this bigger presentation, especially when you see the weed stocks are really high, 10, 8, 15 feet off the bottom. You can see those tall weeds, strands of weeds. This just gives you more opportunity for that to fall through, entice fish from different zones, and get bit more. So there's several ways to do it, several ways to skin the cat. You saw the 8-inch buzzworm. That's this guy right here. I probably use that the most, to be honest. There is also a hang 10. This here is an actual 10-inch worm. This has got, I'll show you the difference between the two and it'll make sense. This has got more of your twister tail, right? Just like you would on your classic Mr. Twister grub, right? Twister tail end. Where your buzzworm, more of a straight worm, just a turn tip right there. So right, little different feel, little different action. This is gonna fall slower, the 10-inch worm. They look about the same when I'm holding them up like this, but this is 10, more meat, little skinnier, 8-inch, little quicker fall. Both have their place and time. And then the other one I do well with is gonna be that Try Alive Nightcrawler. That's gonna be a straight worm, almost like your shaky worm, but again, fairly long, fairly good sized. This will work it on a jig head, this will work it on a drop shot. So those are the three variations I'm fishing in this situation to get bit. So try the longer jig worm. It is a whole lot of fun. I've had a bunch of guide trips lately with 3 people in the boat fishing. I'm watching 3 different lines. So I'm kind of diversifying on the setups and presentations. And I'll tell you what, this guy seems to catch more and bigger fish consistently the last week, even when I'm fishing myself. So those are things to consider, is that bigger, longer jig worm. So water temps, we're in the upper 70s consistently. It's staying 76 to 78, 78 degrees. We're seeing 81, 82, 83 surface temp. By the heat of the day, it is happening. Surface temp. So if you're swimming in 4 feet of water, it probably feels great. If you jump out in 35 feet of water, you'll notice real quick it feels cooler because just a few feet down, it's not 80 degrees. So we understand how that works. But we are seeing some trend shifting warmer this next week. Going to be another beautiful week. I don't think it's actually going to be as warmer. If I remember looking at the forecast, I think I saw maybe around 80 for highs, not 90. So lower humidity. It should be a beautiful July week to be out on the water and enjoying water sports, enjoying some fishing, all of the above. So another presentation that's working really well is crankbaits, DT10s, DT16s, casting and retrieving, throwing on the weed lines for pike, but crankbaits have caught a bunch of fish. Obviously the jig bite's going to work well. The football head, where did I put it? I just showed you the football head, the pocket craw, all-terrain football head. That's going to make contact with the bottom, drag across the bottom. Football head's a good bite right now. Easy way to cast and fish. I had somebody ask me, well, if I don't have all these fancy electronics, how do I find the hard bottom? How do I do those sorts of things? Great question. We did it for decades. Great tool right here in my hand. You can drag this across the bottom, easily go, oh, there's the rock. Oh, there's the gravel. So this is a great tool to use to find it. This is what we used for many years to find hard bottom, is a football head, a rock jig, they might call it. Carolina rigs, another one, but this is just way much more efficient, is to chuck a football head to find that hard bottom. So big rule of thumb is just cover water. I mean, these fish are schooled up right now. They're, like I said, they're on the weed lines. Pay attention to nuances, pay attention to inside turns on your graph. Pay attention to all that kind of stuff. Big, huge underwater points. Fish both sides of it. Don't just fish the tip. Every angler wants to go right to the tip of it. Fan cast around, move on. Oftentimes, if this is my point, everyone fishes here, right? The tip. I would encourage you, this is where it comes in and then goes out, right? There's your inside turn right here. So you're gonna fish these inside turns just like you would the bottom tip. A lot of us don't think about that. They pull up onto the tip. There might be a buoy showing where it is. No bites, on to the next spot, work down. I find myself catching more fish on the inside turns of that point, not so much here, but here on these inside turns where it flattens back out on the weed line. That seems to be my strike zone for a big bite, especially if you can find some sort of hard bottom, that sort of stuff. So just little nuances we think about to catch more fish. So otherwise, get out there, stay hydrated. wear the Blackfish shirt, wear the sun shirt. This one's got a hood. It's nice. It's amazing how cool I stay, even with the hood up in the hot sun, protecting my skin, all those sorts of things. So get out there, have some fun. It's still July. It's the heat of the summer. It's the dog days. The bluegills and crappies are schooling up on the weed lines. Super easy to catch, whole lot of fun, and enjoy it. Bring a buddy out fishing, bring a dad, bring a mom, bring a sister, bring a cousin, whatever it might be. Get a kid fishing and enjoy it. And if you get super warm, super easy trick, wear your swimsuit, jump in the water, cool off, hop back in the boat, do some more fishing. So get out there, have some fun, enjoy your July, enjoy your summertime excitement on the water. And again, as always, be respectful and courteous at the boat launches. Say hi, help somebody out if they need it, and everybody have a good time. Good luck out there. Be safe.